I'm finna sit right here. That's what I'm finna do. That's what I said. I'm finna sit right here.
Oh, 5 days. Looks like it's about 5 days. Found it.
They're searching scalpels. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, they all have these sharp blades of cartilage called the scalpel, located right where their tail meets the body, which they can actually use for self-defense. So surgeonfish can whip their bodies around and actually whack other animals with that sharp scalpel blade. And I can tell you from experience, it hurts. Now, in Hawaii, we also have some of the most unique coral reef in the world. Keep in mind, you all are looking at the most isolated environment on planet Earth right now. The Hawaiian Islands are about 2,000 miles away from the next nearest large landmass, which would be the continental U.S. Oh, look, there's an omilu. That's a bluefin trevally, those two big silverfish. They're on the starboard side with the bright blue scales on their tail ends. Those are bluefin trevallies, or omilu in Hawaii. They're actually one of our bigger predators. Oh, and that fish out there on the port side with the black and white stripes and the long thread-like dorsal fin, that's a Moorish idol. Often mistaken for angelfish, Moorish idols are actually in their very own family, of which they're the only genus and species. Most people actually recognize that fish from the world's most common marine biological reference, Finding Nemo.
A turtle.
Oh wait, there's a turtle! There's a sea turtle! Yeah, right up next to our windows on the starboard side. Oh, just up underneath the boat.
Back up.
Oh, that was cool. I almost totally missed that because I was talking about Finding Nemo. Okay, yeah. That was a Hawaiian green sea turtle. Do you guys see it back here? See the turtle out the window? You guys know what the Hawaiian name for a green sea turtle is? It's a honu. H-O-N-U. A honu is a Hawaiian green sea turtle. Most tour guides will tell you that you had a honu experience. I won't though. So that's a honu right out there. Now these green sea turtles, that was a relatively small one. They'll actually grow to be one of the largest species of sea turtle in the world. They can be about 5 feet long from one end of the shell to the other and weigh up to 500 pounds. Incredibly large, very dense little animals, and they can hold their breath underwater for periods of up to 5 hours. That was discovered in probably the most boring study that was never done on sea turtles. Yeah, so 5 hours they can spend underwater on a single breath hold. And just a fun fact, you know, humans can also hold their breath for 5 hours, but only once.
Today.
And they're actually named green sea turtles not because of the outside of their body. I don't know if you guys noticed it's actually brown on the outside. The green is named for the insides of their bodies. See, they spend most of their time feeding on algae, on rocks in intertidal zones, really shallow waters. So at one point, just one bit of dry land, you know, just a big valley of one gigantic super island that has since been separated before because it's like that. Now look at all this beautiful reef we're starting to come into view of. While we're looking, do you guys know what coral actually is? For the most part, do you guys know what coral is? I'm so sorry I keep doing that to you. I won't make it happen of it. Do you guys know what coral is? What is it? It's that, yeah. Oh, that was a good answer. Yeah, that's coral right there. Now, coral, believe it or not, is an animal related to sea jellies and sea anemones, actually. In the larger group of animals known as cnidarians. So if you look closely at any one of these colonies of coral right here, you'll see it's covered in these little dimples, you know, like the craters in a golf ball. And inside each one of those dimples is a little sea anemone-like animal called a polyp. So all these corals that you see out here are actually colonies of thousands of individual little polyps, little tiny animals that live in the crevices there. So it's interesting to think of a coral reef not as just like a habitat for fish, but as one massive living system of animals spread out below us. And they all have an algae, one of thousands of species of microalgae growing in their body tissues that gives them their color. So all the color you see actually comes from algae inside the corals, not from the animal itself. And corals with hard skeletons, you know, the ones that form reefs like this one, they're usually extremely slow growing. Maybe only a fraction of an inch every single year they'll grow. So some of these larger colonies, like these big yellow bouldery ones out here, can be hundreds or even thousands of years old when they reach that size. Oh, sea urchins. Yeah, those round little spiny lumps down at the bottom. Those are urchins. Look, there's a couple of them right there. Yeah, sea urchins, or the Hawaiian name is vana. There's a good chance that the divers will show you some later on in the trip. Yeah, we'll bring it right up to the windows. You'll see a lot of them too, little groups of them everywhere. Actually, do you guys know what the name is for a group of sea urchins? I don't either. I was actually hoping you guys might know that. Okay, that's okay. We can make up a name for it.
Colony.
A colony. There you go. That works. Someone once said you can call it a conference because they're all trying to get their point across. My stand-up career didn't go so well, so I'm doing the both thing now. Yeah. Now keep an eye out for more green sea turtles as we cruise along, and remember, don't just look downwards, look up at the surface too when you get a chance. Because remember, green sea turtles are reptiles, you know, they've got lungs that they need to fill with air, so you might see them up at the surface taking a breath. See a lot of fish. Oh look, there's some more surgeonfish. Those are called ring-tailed surgeons, right over there on the starboard side with the white band around their tail. Again, you'll see a lot of surgeonfish before the day's over. Some of them might even be unicorn fish, like the ones with a horn growing in between their eyeballs. Did you see the unicorn fish? You'll have to look out for them. They're pretty magical. Yeah, they have this long horn protruding from in between the eyeballs, and the horn actually doesn't do anything, believe it or not. It doesn't have a purpose. They don't fight with it. They don't use it to hunt or anything like that. It's just kind of there. A long protrusion, just for aesthetics, you know. As a matter of fact, the horn is even a hindrance. When they're juveniles, before their horn grows in, unicorn fish feed on algae down on the rocks, but as they get bigger and their horn fills in, you know, gets longer, they actually can't reach the rocks anymore to get the algae with their mouths, so they have to change their diet to feed on plankton. What do you guys... Beautiful! Wow, I almost totally missed that. Okay, yeah, that's a little tiny Hawaiian green sea turtle. Did he take you by surprise? Oh, yeah. They like to do that when they're underwater too. You'll see them pop up in front of your windows out of nowhere. Yeah. More green sea turtles as we cruise along, and remember, don't just look downwards, look up at the surface too when you get a chance. Because remember, green sea turtles are reptiles. You know, they've got lungs that they need to fill with air, so you might see them up at the surface taking a breath. See a lot of fish. Oh look, there's some more surgeonfish. Those are called ring-tailed surgeons, right over there on the starboard side with the white band around their tail. Again, you'll see a lot of surgeonfish before the day's over. Some of them might even be unicorn fish, like the ones with the horn growing in between their eyeballs. Did you see the unicorn fish? You'll have to look out for them. They're pretty magical. Yeah, they have this long horn protruding from in between the eyeballs, and the horn actually doesn't do anything, believe it or not. It doesn't have a purpose. They don't fight with it. They don't use it to hunt or anything like that. It's just kind of there. Long protrusion, just for aesthetics, you know. As a matter of fact, the horn is even a hindrance. When they're juveniles, before their horn grows in, unicorn fish feed on algae down on the rocks, but as they get bigger and their horn fills in, you know, gets longer, they actually can't reach the rocks anymore to get the algae with their mouths, so they have to change their diet. Sea turtle in Hawaii, the green sea turtle, the honu. Technically speaking, we have up to 5 different species of sea turtles that have been documented in Hawaii's waters, but green sea turtles are by far the most common. If you've seen a sea turtle out snorkeling or hauled up on the beach, odds are pretty good. There's about a 99% chance it was a Hawaiian green sea turtle. And that's out of about 7 different species of sea turtle worldwide. You know, they mostly feed on algae down at the bottom, but to be honest with you, they're not super picky eaters. They are also extremely fond of jellyfish. Yeah, so sea turtles will actually feed on jellyfish they find floating in the water. They go crazy for it, as a matter of fact. It's like a special treat for them. Oh, here's an orange band surgeonfish. That really darkly colored one right there with the orange band along the sides of his body.
Oh, there's a sea urchin.
So we got some more sea urchins over here.
Yeah.
Look at that one. That's pretty.
You might be lucky enough to see a triggerfish every now and again. Oh, look, there's one. That black one way out there. You'll see more of them too as the trip goes on. It's a black triggerfish or a black sturgeon. Triggerfish are all known for having the spine way on the top of their head that lifts up and down as they like. And they can actually use that spine as an anchor, so if a triggerfish ever feels
Driving around in
it'll
a
dive
circle.
head first into a hole, lift that spine up and lock it into place with its trigger. So it can't be pulled out backwards as a defense against predators. Actually, our Hawaiian state fish is a species of triggerfish. Do any of you guys know the name of our Hawaiian state fish?
Maui.
Do you know the name? And Will's showing off his amazing bubble ring skills, which he was super good at that. I've been trying to, I'm not very good at doing that. It's pretty impressive, yeah, he's good. He's good. Oh, and Rachel's coming up on the port side with a sea urchin. Yeah, that's a banded sea urchin or a vana. Urchins like this are actually some of my favorites to talk about because they are entirely brainless. I don't mean that as an insult, but they don't, yeah, they're brainless. They don't have a brain. There's no central nervous system anywhere in that animal. They made it all the way this far through the, somebody warn Rachel! Oh, it's diving on the port side as a turtle heading right down towards the reef.
I see it.
Yeah, that's a fairly large turtle, like I said, and they get even
Can't
larger.
get it good on
This
this
can be 500 pounds.
phone. That's a big
Slowly it
turtle.
moves. Now, interestingly enough, sea turtles like this are actually built to be knocked around a little bit. They're kind of built like football players. You can tell the difference between males and females by their tail. Males will have a really long tail that's about the length of their flippers, but females will have that short little stubby one right there. And you can really only tell the difference after they reach sexual maturity, which in green sea turtles is about 15 years. What's that?
See, there's another one. See, I told you. We went to go get him. He's like, come on.
Oh yeah, look, there's a second one. Oh yeah, that must be what she was pointing out. Yeah, he must have been hiding under the rocks. Oh, it looks like one turtle has scared another one out of its hiding place. You guys were at the aquarium yesterday?
Yeah.
I used to work over there actually. I took care of their fish for about 2.5 years. It's a good aquarium. It's a good aquarium. Yeah, they have a good aquarium.
Where'd it go? Is he?
There it goes up to the top. Did you know in Hawaii you can actually find these sea turtles hauled up out on the beach? They'll crawl up onto the sand just to like bask like a lizard, you know? They just like hold this turtle up. Yeah, don't call it they really weigh like 400 or 500 pounds.
That's what they were saying. I was getting confirmation.
They're on in the tiny little spaces because they've lost their shell. They tend to squeeze their body through a space that's at least the size of their eye. That's why they're notorious escape artists, you know, in Aquaria. Here it comes down the starboard side.